Loss of potency of the powder charge in the actual cartridge. Perhaps an individual stored this ammunition inappropriately. They didn't put it in a nice, non-arid, relatively warm area free of moisture or humidity, such that moisture could creep in between the crevice that exists between the crimp walls of the cartridge casing and the actual bullet. It seeps in and causes some deterioration of the potency of this powder charge. The powder is weak. So it does, the actual cartridge doesn't function as designed. If you put a round of ammunition in a gun and you pull the trigger, you expect it to go bang. With the case of a misfire, the powder has completely deteriorated. Some people might refer to a misfire as a dud. You pull the trigger, the gun goes click, and that's it. There is no discharge. It just goes click. That is radically different from a hang fire. A hang fire starts out like a misfire. You pull the trigger and the gun goes click. The only difference is, well, this powder had not completely deteriorated. Maybe just a little bit of it was deteriorated. However, enough of it caught fire, pun intended, to actually create a discharge about 10 seconds later. So with the hang fire, you pull the trigger, it goes click, and then about 10 seconds later, then it goes back. So imagine what some people do when they put in their ammunition into a handgun. They pull the trigger, it goes click, and they go, wow. They start to do weird things with the handgun, like you just did with your finger. What'd you do with your finger?
Put it up and look.
You actually look down the barrel of a handgun.
Somebody would do that.
At least once or twice a year, somewhere in the country, people literally shoot themselves in the face because they looked down the barrel of a handgun when they had a hang fire. It's a definite no-no. You pull the trigger on a gun and it just goes click and does not go bang, you have to wait. You have to wait 30 seconds to figure out whether you have a misfire or a hang fire. And in that period of time while you're waiting, 30 seconds, you need to make sure that you keep following these fundamental firearm safety rules. Keep it pointed in a safe direction. If you're at a gun range, it's downrange towards your target. Don't pull the trigger, it goes click, and you go, hey my man, can you look at my handgun? It didn't go off. You can't do that. You can't point it at someone else. And then also we have a squib load. Squib load is particularly interesting. You also, in this case, have a deterioration in the powder, but it's somewhere in the middle between the misfire and the hang fire. There's enough potency in this powder charge to actually create a miniature discharge. It's enough of a discharge to propel the bullet from the chamber area somewhere along the path of the barrel, but it doesn't completely exit out the muzzle at the end. So basically you have a bullet that's lodged in your barrel. If you're shooting a revolver, on your next trigger pull, that cylinder is going to rotate and position another cartridge for firing. So you're about to shoot a brand new cartridge with the bullet still lodged in your barrel. With the semi-auto, on your next trigger pull, you're going to actually have another round auto-loaded from your magazine and positioned into your chamber for firing. You still have an obstructed barrel. It is not a good thing to do to pull the trigger on a plugged up handgun. What do you imagine would happen if you shot an obstructed handgun?
Pull up a motor.
Kaboom! It could be shrapnel in your face. It could literally be fingers on the floor. It is